The distress beacon pulsed through the void like a dying heartbeat. Captain Lyra's ship, the Wanderer's Hope, had picked it up 3 hours ago. A Velkorian transport vessel adrift in the outer reach, life support failing. The galactic community knew the Velkorians well, a peaceful species of feline-like beings, cautious to a fault, risk-averse by nature. They never traveled the dangerous routes. Until now. Captain, the hull is breached in multiple sections, reported her AI companion, Iris. Life signs detected, but faint. Minimal time before complete systems failure. Lyra's jaw tightened as she guided her ship alongside the crippled transport. The vessel was small, meant for short-range family travel, not deep space. What were they doing out here? She didn't waste time wondering. Questions could wait. Lives couldn't. The docking sequence took 43 seconds too long in her opinion. The moment the airlock pressurized, Lyra was through it, her emergency kit slung across her back, a heavy-duty wrench gripped in her gloved hand. The transport's interior was dark, lit only by failing emergency strips that cast everything in sickly red. Iris, guide me to the life signs. Proceeding down Corridor B, Section 4. Captain, I must warn you, the structural integrity is compromised. The route may be noted. Lyra moved with practiced efficiency through the dying ship. The corridors were too small for her, designed for Velkorians who rarely exceeded 5 feet in height. She had to duck to twist her shoulders, but she moved fast. Behind her faceplate, her breath came steady and controlled. Panic was a luxury she'd never been able to afford. The crying reached her ears before Iris announced it. Children, cubs, multiple voices, high-pitched and terrified, coming from behind a sealed bulkhead ahead. Lyra broke into a run, her boots clanging against the metal deck. The bulkhead door loomed before her, a heavy security hatch, the kind that sealed automatically during hull breaches. Its control panel was dark, dead. Emergency lockdown. Iris, can you override it? Negative. The system is completely offline. No power to the door mechanisms. The crying grew louder, more desperate. Lyra pressed her gloved hand against the cold metal and felt the vibration of small fists pounding from the other side. Her mind raced through options, discarding each in fractions of seconds. No power meant no electronic solution. The manual release would be inside, unreachable. The door weighed at least 300 kilograms, sealed tight by magnetic locks that wouldn't release without power. Any reasonable person would have called for specialized equipment. Any reasonable person would have assessed that forcing this door was impossible without proper tools, without a cutting torch, without time they didn't have. Lyra had never been accused of being reasonable. She examined the door's edge, where the seal met the frame. There, a gap barely a centimeter wide, where the door had buckled slightly from the initial impact that had crippled the ship. It wasn't much, but it was something. She wedged the wrench into the gap. Captain, I must advise against— Advise later, Iris. Lyra gripped the wrench with both hands and pulled. Her muscles strained against the resistance. The door didn't budge. She adjusted her stance, planted her boots against the wall for leverage, and pulled again. The wrench groaned. The metal creaked. Nothing. The crying on the other side faltered, as if the cubs could sense someone was there. A small voice called out in Velkorian. Words she didn't understand, but the meaning was clear. Help us, please. Lyra's jaw set like stone. She repositioned the wrench, driving it deeper into the gap. Human engineering had built this tool to withstand tremendous force. Human stubbornness was about to test its limits. She pulled. This time something gave. A millimeter. Then another. The magnetic seal's hold weakened where the metal had warped. Lyra didn't stop. She threw her entire body weight into it, leveraging every kilogram of mass, every joule of strength her muscles could generate. Sweat ran down her face inside her suit. Her hands screamed in protest. The door shifted. 5 centimeters, 10. Captain, your heart rate is dangerously elevated. Not now. 15 centimeters, 20. Enough to get her fingers into the gap. Lyra dropped the wrench and gripped the edge of the door with her gloved hands. The metal bit into her palms even through the reinforced material. She planted her feet and pulled, letting out a roar of effort that echoed through the corridor. The door shrieked as it slid open. 30 centimeters, 40. Enough. Lyra squeezed through the gap into the darkened room beyond. Her helmet light swept across the space. A passenger cabin, now a tomb of failed systems and cold air. And there, huddled in the corner, were 4 Velcorian cubs, their fur matted with fear sweat, their large eyes reflecting her light like mirrors. The smallest one, no bigger than a human toddler, stared at her with a mixture of terror and hope. His crying had stopped the moment he saw her, replaced by stunned silence. This was Kor, though she wouldn't learn his name until later. "It's okay," Lyra said softly, her voice filtering through her helmet's external speakers. "I've got you." She moved quickly, assessing each cub for injuries. Minor contusions, severe dehydration, hypothermia setting in, but alive. All alive. She activated her emergency beacon, calling her ship's medical pod to stand by, and began wrapping the cubs in thermal blankets from her kit. Kor reached out with a small, trembling paw and touched her gloved hand. His voice was barely a whisper. "You open the door?" Lyra managed a tired smile behind her faceplate. "Yeah, kid." I opened the door, but it was sealed. Impossible to open. She lifted him gently, cradling him against her chest as she prepared to carry them all to safety. Impossible just means nobody's tried hard enough yet. Later, after the cubs were safe aboard the Wanderer's Hope, after medical scans confirmed they would fully recover, after she'd contacted their family on the Velcorian homeworld, Kor approached her in the medbay. He held something in his small paws, the wrench she'd left behind. "You forgot this," he said quietly. Lyra took it, feeling the weight of the tool that had saved 4 lives. "Thanks, Kor." He looked up at her with those impossibly large eyes. "The elders say humans are reckless, that you don't think before you act. They're probably right. They also say that's why you're dangerous." He paused, his tail curling thoughtfully. "But I think that's why you're amazing. You don't see impossible, you just see a problem. And a wrench." Lyra laughed, a genuine warm sound. She knelt down to his level and ruffled the fur on his head. "Remember that, kid. The galaxy will tell you 1,000 things are impossible. Sometimes all you need is the right tool and the refusal to listen." As Kor returned to his siblings, Lyra stood and gazed out the viewport at the stars beyond. Somewhere out there, the galactic community was having philosophical debates about risk management, about protocols, about the proper procedures for everything. And somewhere out there, someone was crying behind a sealed door. Lyra tightened her grip on the wrench, let them debate. She had work to do.